Hello, this is your friendly computer science professor, James Camp, from Lee College in Baytown, Texas. And this is an introduction to our second lesson in computer programming, which is where we write our first C++ program. And from lesson 2 here on through several more lessons, I'm going to be giving these little snapshots of a little bit of computer science that may help you understand the rest of the chapter as you read it or as you watch my video on it. So these are going to be little 10-minute snippets of computer science that should help you to understand the big thing. What you need to know about C++ is that it is a compiled language. And what that means is that you're going to be writing in your text editor here, and you'll probably be in an IDE, so it'll have panels on either side, and you're actually going to be writing the code here in the middle. Okay, and this code is text. Okay, text only. That's all it is. In fact, it's saved on the computer as a text file that ends in .cpp for C++. Okay, we couldn't have the little plus character as part of a file name way back when, so we made CPP for C++. That text is obviously not going to run on your computer. So what happens is a program called a compiler reads through one line at a time, okay, and translates this into a string of ones and zeros. Okay, which is called an object file or a binary file. Okay, and then this is linked with various libraries on your computer. The C++ standard library. Okay. And what comes out at the end is called pen is not working here, is called an executable file. Okay, and it usually ends in a .exe on Windows computers. On Macs and Unix computers, it doesn't get a file ending. It's just, if I named my file, so, I could name my program prog for program.cpp. Okay. This in Windows would become prog.exe. Okay. And in Mac or Linux, any of the Unix derived systems, this would just be called prog. It would lose the .cpp, but you wouldn't have any indication that it's an executable file, except that you could, if you wanted to, type prog at the command line or double click your prog file and it would run. Okay. One last little note about, so what you're going to be doing today is learning to write the code that goes in this little window, okay? Line after line after line of code. There are distinct parts to every C++ program. We're going to learn them a little bit at a time. The thing you're going to learn about today is the main function, which is where the program starts and ultimately does, in today's case, all of its work. But sometimes that's not true. Sometimes you'll have multiple functions. But what I want to start you with, one last little note here, is that up at the very top of every C++ program is a little set of lines that start with a pound sign. Y'all in today's world have been indoctrinated by Twitter to probably think of this as the hashtag sign, but the official name for this sign is the pound sign. I'm not sure where it got its name. It's not what we use for British pounds. It's not what we use for American weight pounds. It's a hash mark, but it's called the pound sign. So all C++ files have at least one of these pound signs, and that is a directive to the compiler, or technically to the preprocessor that happens before the compiler, to do certain things. And the most common thing that we do is include library files or header files. We include header files that belong most often to the standard library. Sometimes we might write a program that has multiple files, and so we need to include our extra file in our main file. But we're not going to actually touch that in this class, where all of our programs are going to be one file programs, just to keep it simple. But we are going to pound include libraries from the C++ standard library, because C++ is a very lean language. It doesn't have much that it does by itself. So if you want to read input from the keyboard, you need to pound include the IO library. If you want to read from a file, you have to pound include the file IO library. If you want to use string manipulation functions, you need the string library, and so forth and so on. So you may find yourself pound including 5 or 6 things in any particular C++ program. Okay, so that's just the lay of the land. You have one or more pound includes there at the beginning, and then you have several lines of code, one of which, some portion of which is going to be your main program that gets translated into this binary object file linked with a library and turned into an executable file. Okay? And then the executable file actually gets run. And all of these IDEs that we work with today, they're kind of nifty in that they've got some sort of little play button here in the top menu bar, and you click that and it will compile your program, and then it will run your program for you in a safe debugging environment that keeps it from crashing your computer if anything bad happens to it, and allows you to do some nifty debugging stuff that we'll talk about later in the class if we have a chance. Okay, that's our intro to lesson 2. Hope you enjoyed it. Good luck and happy programming.